There's perfect. Hang on a sec here. I'm just going to make sure. Brock's going to do the recording for us. So, first off, I want to thank everybody for coming out tonight. My name's Rob Warren. I'm over at the College of Business and Public Administration. And together with Brock Admonson, all summer long, we've been working to put together a startup grind chapter for Grand Forks. Now, to put this into perspective, there are 600 startup grind chapters around the world. Approximately 2 million entrepreneurs belong to the organization. We're the only chapter in North Dakota, and we are a college chapter. So our goal is taking the startup grind goal, which is to support entrepreneur development, support entrepreneurs by providing them a non-threatening place for them to meet and share ideas and build friendships, and provide a forum for them to share their ideas. By going on a college campus, our real goal is, and I'm happy to see we've got some folks out tonight, is really here to spur entrepreneurship at North Dakota even more. I know Bruce Jovic, who's joined us tonight, has been working on this for 30 years because he and I did a lot of projects together, but we just need to go to that next level. So tonight, I'll tell you a little bit about Startup Grind, and then I'll introduce our speaker, Chad. Startup Grind, as I mentioned, global organization. Every year they have a conference in San Francisco. It lasts 3 days. And they bring in about 100 speakers in entrepreneurship to talk to the assembled group. If you're interested in going, we have 10 tickets for you to enter the conference. Getting into San Francisco's on you. However, Startup Grind has also cut a deal with hotels in the area, and you can stay for the conference for $210, which is normally $210 a night. Now, the only thing is you're going to end up bunking with either a couple of other people from Grand Forks, or you might bunk with somebody from another area. Well, what this will do is it'll allow you to meet people from all corners of the United States. Plus, the other groups that we deal with all the time are Lagos in Nigeria, Paris is always big, London had a big event last night. I hear they had like 600 people out to their event. College Station, we were talking about Texas A&M. So you get to meet those folks. The other thing is, joining our organization, you can also access all the speaker recordings so you can see somebody you haven't seen. So what I was saying to Chad earlier is, we're going to record him, we'll put him up to be a speaker in San Fran. If they can work him in or he wants to go, we'll get him hooked up and set him up as a speaker. So that's really Startup Grind. Our plan here in Grand Forks, the one that Brock and I have been working on, is we're going to run 5 events for sure a year. We'll meet once a month, usually the last Thursday or the next to last Thursday of the month. And we'll do that in September, October, November, and then again we'll do it January through to April. The big thing is that we're sponsored by Google. So Google for Entrepreneurs is our primary sponsor. And next month, our speaker is going to be Tom Kenville, and that's sponsored by Haruko. And they're big into sponsoring technology-based entrepreneurs. So we'll have those folks in. Comcast is also a big supporter of Startup Grind. So you're going to find that there's some really good groups that you can tap into. And if you want to take a leadership role in the organization, I encourage you to do that. Brock's going to graduate. I need some folks to take on tasks after he's gone. So Startup Grind has two different ways we present things. Tonight we're going to do what's called a fireside chat, or in our case, a pallet side chat. And that's where we just have this kind of very friendly conversation between us. And then we also do live streaming events. So I'll post tomorrow on our Facebook page and on the website the streaming, which is going to be from London. So it's going to be at 11 o'clock in the morning. You can watch it live, or we'll record it and we'll run it later. And that's going to be a partner from Andreessen, the big firm out of San Francisco, is going to talk to that one. Okay? Are there any questions that I could answer for you? Okay. This is my second time around running Startup Grind. I ran it in Winnipeg too, so I found that the entrepreneurs who came out loved it, and we always used to do it in places like this. So let me turn to our speaker tonight. Our speaker is, or our guest, is Mr. Chad Gunderson, who's the co-founder of Half Brothers. And we're here tonight to talk about his entrepreneurial journey. So Chad, the first question I had for you was entrepreneurship. Is this something that's always interested you, or is this something that you kind of got later in life?
I think it's, so my father ran his own business for, since I was a child until about 10 years old when he passed. So I think it's kind of been in my blood, if I can say that. My stepfather ran his own business, so I didn't know I wanted to run my own business until after college. I went to school at the University of North Dakota, finished at Bemidji State University with an emphasis in business, not entrepreneurship, but business, small business management. I think owning my own business kind of came around once I found the field that I was super passionate about. So after I found that, that's when the wheels started turning.
So how did you have the epiphany about brewing is where you wanted to be? Like most college students drink beer. What was it that really got you?
So I was drinking beer, and I was working at Happy Harry's here in town. So putting a lot of time there. That's when craft beer was kind of on the boom, the second boom, I guess. Early 2006-ish. Lots of breweries were opening up in Minnesota, not so much in North Dakota. But I was seeing all these new beers come to the market and tasting them and being like, oh, this is tasty stuff compared to what a lot of college kids drink is light yellow, Busch Light, or Keystone was a huge seller that we went through. So I helped kind of formulate a little bit of what was going on at Happy Harry's. Kind of, I didn't physically push them into carrying more craft beer, but now since leaving and coming back to Grand Forks, seeing how much craft beer they have in their store now, it's amazing from 2005. So
I was going to ask, in that regard, what would you say has been the shift in terms of beer consumed by the average North Dakotan, the kind of mainstream beers versus the craft?
I'd say a lot of people are, we were talking about this earlier, a lot of people like the taste of craft beer, but they are watching their wallet as well. So I think a lot of people enjoy a few craft beers, but then they always fall back to their domestic style beer. And I think that's a lot of the population of Minnesota. I mean, in the Midwest, I feel a lot of breweries are trying to make that light domestic style beer, which we do as well, to get those people in here. So they always have something to fall back, even if they don't want to try something, crazy imperial stout, they can always drink our classic, which is our light domestic style beer.
So back to your journey.
Yeah.
This was your first venture, or did you have something that preceded this one?
This is first venture. I've helped open a few other breweries, not on the money side of things, but on the brewing side of things.
Okay.
My first help at that would be in Montana when I was brewing up there. A similar sized brewery was opening up. I was their first hire, first brewer, kind of walking through the steps of brewing on a small scale system to brewing on a commercial system that I was used to. That even sparked my interest in opening Half Brothers even more, because I was like, wow, yeah, I think I can actually do this. And then moving back to Grand Forks, helping out Rhombus guys down the street. I was their first hire, first brewer, set up their entire portfolio of beers.
what would be the one thing you learned as an employee that really helped you get this off the ground? Maybe there's a couple of things.
Number one thing that we try to enact here is I don't feel like I am a boss. I feel like I am an employee of Halfers as well. So trying to connect with the employees that work here on a personal level has really helped. I felt I enjoyed that as well. I had a few bosses that way that were, that were just part of the crew, right?
Right.
So that's what I try to run this place as well. Is I'm just part of the crew. I might have, I might sign the paychecks, but at the end of the day, we're all working together as a team.
Now, you've been in this for a while. Have you noticed the shift towards more of a democracy in the workplace, which really fits that style you just described?
We don't have any managers. We have leads per se that do scheduling and stuff like that. But for the most part, people kind of run their own show. We have guidelines, but if you follow the line, we have conversations. But most of the time, we have really good employees here that just follow the team effort. So.
The next question I've got for you is this. What made you want to switch from being an employee to an entrepreneur? You brought some ideas from an employee. That's a big risk shift.
Right.
What was the trigger for that?
There's multiple. I think it was just trying something. I mean, it was a big leap. I have a lot of support. It wasn't just me. There's a lot of people behind. My wife, our family. I've got 2 small kids, so starting this was probably not the easiest thing on the family, but having that support really pushed me to just take the leap.
Now, on that vein, that support is really crucial because being an entrepreneur is not just coming in and opening the doors and brewing beer. It's with you 24/7, as we were talking about. Can you maybe talk a bit more about how that support really makes handling some of the issues you have as an entrepreneur easier?
Right. Yeah, because I mean, if someone doesn't show up, I'm the person that's here. Someone's got to be there, right? So going home and knowing that I have the support to, be playing with my kids, having dinner, then getting a phone call and be able to walk out, or getting an email and having to respond to that in a timely fashion. That's huge. Having my wife being such a rock that she is, helped me continue to be a part of this company. Even when I'm
Is
not
she
here.
actively involved in the business, or
She's not actively. No, yeah. We kind of made that decision early on that we, in order to just have a healthy relationship at home, I think I tossed the idea around like, hey, she's very passionate about her line of work as well. So I've seen. I mean, I'm in business with my brother, right? So being in business with your family is great. There's also some negatives with that as well with home life. So.
Yeah, I was going to ask. What's being in business with your brother? What's it like? What are the positives and the negatives of doing it?
Right now, it's all positives. I mean, he's just turned 21. So when we actually started this business, he was not even legally able to drink the product, which we found out the state will not. So we originally were 50-50 going into this business, right? And the city would not give us a liquor license because he was 19 at the time. And in order to get a liquor license, all ownership had to be of drinking age. So we had to go back and take him off the books for 2 years. So he was an owner, but he wasn't officially on the paper owner until he turned 21, which we brought him back. But he's pursuing a career in physical therapy at the University of North Dakota. So he's tied up in that for right now. He works in the kitchen, helps out wherever he can. So currently, right now, it's all positives. I mean, he's not an active owner yet. I think he's going to pursue the physical therapy line for a while. You know, he talked about quitting school, and I was like, don't do that. You know, the brewery's always going to be here, and you can help out wherever you can, but the physical therapy degree is probably a good thing to fall back on.
Yeah, definitely.
So.
Now, I guess the question was, you partially answered it, but did you consciously set out once you hit 21 to sort of separate the duties to make things a little easier?
I think not really. I mean, it's kind of a unique situation where he's an owner, but he's not active. You know, active in the ownership duties. I think he's being 21. He's very young-minded right now, still kind of grasping school, and his school kind of takes up a lot of his time. And me being someone that's very hands-on, and I have to be a part of every decision that happens here, just because that's the way my brain is wired. I feel like it would be an inconvenience if I made him take over something that I'm already doing anyway. So, who's to say in 2 years that might change? So once he's got his career, maybe he can be more hands-on with the brewery at that point, which hopefully.
Now, do you find that that's just one of the secrets of your success so far, is that hands-on nature in the business?
I think so. Being here on a daily basis, I see everything that happens. Having that connection with the crew, like I said earlier, being a team where I'm not just coming in, seeing what's going on, and flying out, doing something else on my own.
Or like a bad episode of Bar Rescue?
Yeah, right. Like I think the employees here really enjoy that I'm hands-on and I'm here every day. Maybe they don't.
We'll take a poll there.
Yeah.
Now, earlier you talked about the first big hurdle you had to overcome was getting a liquor license.
Yep.
Because of the age of your brother. What would have been the next big hurdle you faced, or was that not the first one you faced?
First one was funding.
Okay.
We ran to the bank, tried that route. We were successful in a way, but we quickly found out that opening a brewery of this nature costs a lot more than what we anticipated. So our first, this is what our budget was, got blown away within 2 months of trying to open this place. So our second hurdle was just getting that additional funding, and we actually ran into that 3 times because of different things that were part of this building, part of this production. So
you started with the bank, and then did you go on the private side, or did you find some other kind of debt-oriented sources?
So we went through the Grand Forks Economic Development Center. So they have a program. I'm sure if you guys are aware. So they have city funds that are available to small businesses as long as you're primary sector. So as long as you're sending products outside of this region and bringing money back in, which with our canning line, our beer being sent outside of this region, we were eligible for that loan.
Right.
So we went through, and that has to go through their board, the second board, and the city council has to approve those funds to be distributed to us. So we actually went through that resource 3 times.
Okay.
Along with other regional councils, the Red River Regional Council, we went through those guys twice before continuing on the project.
Now, was the funding process onerous, did you find, or? And was it? All entrepreneurs talk about it's tough to raise money. You've already alluded to that.
Right.
And when you look back, was it that bad, or is it more a matter of perseverance?
I think it was finding the right channel, shaking the right hands, getting to talk to the right people. We were pointing to that direction. There was an application. We got the application, filled it out, but during that process, we had a lot of help from the EDC and our banker support. So filling out that application and going through those channels would have been maybe difficult if I didn't know the right people to help out with that. So, and then on top of that, uh, having community members and family members that I can also co-sign on those loans, that was probably the biggest factor.
Now, you've got some young entrepreneurs here tonight. What advice would you tell them, or give them, sorry, for finding those right people to go and talk to? What are some of the steps you think they should consider?
Talk with your local, maybe entrepreneurship program. Obviously, you guys are all part of that. Usually cities have some sort of economic development type of fund. I believe, anyways, I've heard of a few around this area. Just being diligent in getting those meetings, getting in front of those people that you need to, shake those hands, and as well as get your business plan in order, ask for double what you think. That would have worked out great for us if we would have figured that out.
At the first time
At
around.
the first time,
Yeah.
yeah. So we didn't have to go back 3 or 4 times. 'Cause then the 4th time going through the city council, I was like, "Yep, I'm here again. I need more money."
We're this close, right? Yeah. That brings up the question I've got now is every entrepreneur, especially when it comes to all those funding rounds, gets that point where they go, man, do I really want to do this? Did you have one of those moments, and can you explain how that worked out for you? It obviously worked out positively, but
right. So when we were, neck deep into this project, and we had something, you actually mentioned the new water line, right? So that was something that was sprung upon us via the inspectors of the city, saying that we needed to add sprinkler systems, and that was not part of the plan. That was the point where it was like, we've already gone to the city, we've already gone to this board, like, what are our options? Like, we can't open without bringing in a new water main, putting in the sprinkler system, so the entire project was at a halt. I remember sitting on my couch, talking with my wife, trying to figure out what do we do from here? I'm exhausted. I'm trying to figure out. I called everyone in my phone book for help, and I sent an email to my contact at the EDC, who's already ran us through the gamut 3 times, and they were like, actually, I just got off the phone. It was just like, it was a perfect scenario where it was like they just got off the phone with the Red River Regional Council, and they're like, we're sitting on some funds that the government's going to take away if we don't use them. And so it was like a picture perfect scenario, and that just got us to the next level.
Suddenly the sun came out from behind
Right.
the clouds, yeah. Have there been any other times where you really kind of question going on with the venture at all?
To be honest, it's an ongoing thing. We're very young, so cash flow is always something that's I'm worried about. We haven't missed a payroll yet, which I think is very, very.
That's commendable.
Right. So, not say I haven't missed payroll, but we're making sure that we're paying our bills. We haven't defaulted on any loans, but it's a daily struggle of the stress levels up here. I might be enjoying a pint with you guys right now, but my mind's going like this. Thinking about what's happening next week, what beer we're brewing, what events going on. So it's I'm looking forward to. I think they say year 5 is like that you've made it, or that you're going to continue on, right? Is that what they say?
They do say that, but I don't know, Bruce. I think that's a lie.
Yeah.
Would
Right.
you agree with that? Yeah.
Right.
There's a lot of other factors, new
Right.
competitors, market changes.
Right. And our newness will be gone. It might be gone now, I don't know. So that's why we're trying to always be on the front edge of new beers, new things.
You're going to have to continue, right, reinvent the price.
Right. So,
Well, one of the things we talked about was, you're working with Bully Beer.
Yeah.
One with coffee, local coffee company.
Yep.
How did you find that? How does that help not just the business, but also sort of supporting the entrepreneurial ecosystem here in Grand Forks?
I mean, we're all about community, right? That's one of it's in our mission statement. Every time I talk to someone about Half-Brothers, it's either hearing about all, fundraising of, we do funds on tap every Tuesday where we bring someone to bring, we donate $1 per item sold that night to that organization. Meeting up with Bully Brew, that was kind of, it was exciting. I mean, we wanted to make a beer, so our journey started, we wanted to make a brown ale with locally roasted coffee. So I reached out to our local roaster, right? So met with Sandy. Our partnership just boomed from right there. So she's been supplying us with coffee, and she's like, I really want to do cold brew. I was like, well, I've got the system. I haven't actually physically made cold brew before, but I know that we've got the right equipment for that. And partnering up with her, even though we have our logo on our cans, so I mean that's like cross branding. I feel like we're all in the same boat together. We're all small businesses. I don't feel like I have any competitors really. I mean, I know we do, but I like to think that Sandy and I are both working together just to bring people out to try craft something, whether it's craft coffee, not going to Starbucks but choosing Bully Brew and coming here instead of going to Budweiser or something. So I think it's sharing customers in a way, right? Cross branded.
Now, earlier you talked about, like all entrepreneurs, you've got 1,000 things going on in your head at one time. Do you find that same concept takes you outside the brewery as well? So when you're at home thinking about things you want to get involved with, you're constantly thinking about 100 things at once.
Right. Yeah, always. I think my wife noticed it on our honeymoon. Like, so I'm not a big sit on the beach kind of dude. Maybe I am now, but back then it was when we were, about to start this project, or maybe not this. We were thinking about this project, but just sitting on the beach, I just can't do it. And I gotta be doing something, right? I'm home with the kids. I gotta be playing with them actively, working on a project, or looking at the lawn, being like, I could probably be doing this. My mind's always, I can't sit still, right? So after opening Half-Brothers, maybe I could go on a vacation and sit still. I feel like my mind would benefit from that, but it's just ongoing, keeping at home.
Yeah, that's another one of those things that entrepreneurs that don't get. And that's we never are able to shut down. I'm gonna ask. I want to finish off the last few questions, and then we'll throw it out to the audience for questions. So, what would cause you to expand the business? Like right now, you've got the kind of one location.
Right.
What would tell you, one of those things went off your head and go, Chad, it's time to go to that next level?
It's funny you say that. I mean, as we were just discussing, my mind's always going, right? So I'm always thinking, what's going to be happening in 5 years? What's going to be happening in 3 years? Where's Half-Brothers going to be? Where do we want to be? After a year, we started with just these fermenters that you see right up against the bar. After 1 year, we expanded to triple that. So we've fully expanded as much as we can in this location. We're going to keep it that way. I get calls all the time about, hey, companies that want to help us raise funds for a second location or third location. We're thinking about it. I don't know what's going to be the tipping point. I feel like once we have this under control, but maybe that's too late. I don't know. That's the way my brain works.
I think it's going to be.
You got to be thinking ahead, right?
I was going to say thinking ahead is very true, but thinking about how you made the first decision,
Right.
that you wanted to do this, it's probably going to be something like that. And you've found that tipping point then.
Right. I think we'd like to open a second location. We just don't know where.
Okay.
I don't know. I think Fargo would be too close.
We were talking about
But
Winnipeg,
Winnipeg.
and I said Winnipeg would be great, except you just can't port this ambiance
Right.
there. You know, that's too bad.
And we have ties in Washington and Montana. We spent a lot of time in Montana. That's where I gained all this knowledge about brewing. That's why I credit everything to my skill in brewing, my workmanship. It's all due to Montana brewery. So.
Now, did Montana have the laws change before they? North Dakota, correct me if I'm wrong, is what kind of one of the last places to change the liquor laws for craft beer.
So, yeah, their laws over there are kind of very restricting. I think it still is.
Yeah.
Tap rooms can only be open for a certain amount of times. You can only actually serve a customer 48 ounces of beer per day. So, very restricting. I think they're trying to get that changed, but it's definitely, it's crazy how it changes from state to state. I mean, Minnesota's different than North Dakota. I mean, it's right there. So, but
Yeah,
it's one of the reasons why we opened in North Dakota, because of the laws are a little bit stronger for business growth, I think, than Minnesota.
Okay. So now I want to ask you some questions for our entrepreneurs that you can give us some pointers. If you think back to when you were first starting, what's the one piece of advice you hope you would have liked to have gotten that you'd like to share with these folks tonight?
If I could tell myself
Yeah.
in a scenario, make sure you're 150% committed to it.
Not just you, but the whole family?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think making sure that your support system is even further than what you expect yourself to do. I think, like I said, I mean, I wouldn't have been able to do this, or we wouldn't have been able to do this without the support from everyone in the family, my parents, to my kids, grandparents. I mean, you have to make sure everyone's fully invested in so.
Well, because it's not only, you talked about sort of the financial support you've got from that group,
Yeah.
but the emotional support you need from those folks as well.
Right. Yeah, I mean, those long days, those days where you hit a wall and you know, it's unfortunate, but money is the biggest stress ball in starting a business. I mean, they always say, cash flow is king, right? So,
Yeah.
maybe I don't know who says that. Maybe I just say that.
But
But yeah, cash flow
we
is-
don't know that.
Yeah, cash flow
It's
is-
been around for a long time.
I think that'd be a second thing is make sure you save, make sure you request double what you think it's going to be, because that money can always just sit there. You don't have to do anything with it.
My advice is, ask for twice as much as you want.
Yeah.
Have your revenues double your expenses in your business plan. If you're still making money, probably a good idea.
Right?
The other thing is, what do you think they should do? You talked about you were in school, you learned some things in school, you got some experience working. If you took a look at all those, what would you want to say to them about being prepared to go into an entrepreneurial career?
I think, especially with, brewing, owning a brewery and operating breweries, may be similar, may be different from other entrepreneurship lines of work. But what I always say to home brewers that come through, we just had a guy 2 weeks ago on a Friday come through to watch a brew, and the number, he was asking a bunch of questions, just kind of like this, just trying to gauge. The one thing that I told him was the easiest thing about Half Brothers or my business is making beer. And to him, that was the hardest, that was the biggest flaw that he didn't know. He didn't know how to brew on this type of system. He knew how to make beer at home. He had all these contacts that he thought he could sell it to. But what I hopefully made him realize is like brewing the beer is the easiest thing I could do. Like, you know, I joke around with coworkers like, if I could just come in and brew beer, clock in, clock out, like it'd be way easier of a day, right? So I would say get experience in what you plan to do. So whether that's opening a restaurant, you know, try to work in every aspect of that restaurant. You know, even washing dishes, even just doing everything you can, because that knowledge, that hands-on experience is going to be way better than anything that you're going to read or talk to a person. You know, any knowledge that I can give you, the hands-on experience is key. So I think that's what helped me too. Is I've worked in multiple different breweries. I've never owned a brewery, but that's something that I'm learning as I go. But I've got the easy part for me is making beer.
And I'm going
The
to
hard
guess
part
is the tough part the people?
what
And
do
I
you mean,
don't
like
the people in terms of dealing with customers, dealing with employees, dealing
Yeah.
with suppliers.
I think the hardest, the most difficult part is making sure the product moves consistent
Okay.
time. So like, make sure people come to the tap room. You know, that's, you know, I'm thankful every single day that we open the doors at 11 or 4 o'clock and people walk in. It's, you know, you can pay a bunch of money in advertising, but that doesn't guarantee someone's going to physically walk through your door. So I'm grateful every single day that we have someone that actually wants to buy our product. So, but that's one of the stresses is making sure if it's steady. You know, I can make a bunch of beer, but it doesn't do any good if it doesn't move. So that's a big stress point is dealing with our sales team of, you know, how far to go, how Minneapolis go. You know, we got a guy full time just on the road. So
Perfect. Chat, I'm going to ask, anything that I've missed in our conversation so far that you want to share with us?
I don't think so.
Okay, now what I'm going to do is throw it up for questions. So, Jack.
I was just gonna say, sort of quick question on your end. What was the biggest thing for you on the patient aspect? Because I assume like when you started the whole thing that you just like you were excited for the first customer, but then there was like a point where like no one was showing up, and then you had to like wait. What was like? How did you? I guess like was there a point in time where like you just had to wait for like just the patient aspect? I guess.
Oh.
And it's
Yeah.
just, like, how did you approach that?
In all honesty, I mean, my patience was strung out. Not so much when we physically opened the place, but when we were opening the place. You know, dealing with city government, you know, inspections, and getting supplies in here. You know, the entire startup of this place. That was where my patience was very high strung. You know, you always want things to move faster.
Yeah, because everyone wants like the whole like instant gratification. You want to make sure that everything's going along plan, but then it's just like things sometimes take a little bit longer than they should be.
Ours, so we broke ground per se on this building on March 2017. We had anticipated opening in June, July, right? Because we had an open shell. All we had to do is put up some walls and do some plumbing. But that kept getting pushed back. You know, we had ran into some issues. We ran into some funding, things that needed to be completed, and we finally opened up in October. So that time frame, every single month, I was coming here. We were physically changing this place, but it still we weren't grabbing that opening day. It was just.
And like, I don't know if you're allowed to answer or if you're willing to / allowed to answer this question, but like, for all the beer that you guys sell in here, for like all the cans and everything, what's like the per unit?
What's the
Like, yeah, like what's the unit that you guys are able to distribute out, or what's the unit that you guys are distributing out right now?
So right now we are roughly, so you're wondering like how much is sold here compared to outside?
Or like, I guess like, how much of a 6-pack do you like sell like outside the door? Or like if you like even like a 6-pack that you guys would know that is selling off the shelf somewhere else, right?
Right, so our distribution, I think, can get you, I'd say percentage-wise, tap room versus what's going out the back door, we'd probably be tap rooms probably about 60% and 40% outside. And we're focusing more towards making that opposite.
The other way around. No, for sure.
Just because we know that when we package something in cans, it's a lot easier to get spread out compared to kegs and bringing people here. We have a max occupancy. We have a max amount of people that walk by.
around like 60 people in here probably.
On average, I'd say if you spread that out with our Friday, Saturday nights.
I guess like another question following with that is just like, what's your guys' like plan right now to get that flipped around from the 60-40 to a 40-60?
Yeah, have you changed like any marketing strategies or anything like that?
Talking with Sandy Luck, she's in the advertising department, right?
Yep.
Yeah. So
Marketing.
Marketing. Yeah. So we, as a business and as a new business, we've kind of strayed away from the traditional advertising, newspaper, radio. We tried radio for about a year. We just weren't seeing the return. You can't really see a return on radio, right? So we've been very fortunate in our social media presence. And what we're trying to do for the 2019-2020 winter is target college kids.
So I guess like, do you think it could be stronger, or do you,
Yeah.
or like how well, like on a scale of 1 to 10, how strong do you think it is? 10 being super strong, 1 being like, and
Our marketing right now,
or like your guys' social media preference for marketing in general.
I'd probably say I think a lot of when we do post on Facebook, we do see quite a bit of traction through the metrics that we can see. So I'd say we're fairly strong. It's a fine line. It's a fine line of
6 to 7.
yeah,
It just-
posting too much or yeah.
Yeah, I was gonna say, when you finish the question, I was gonna throw it open to somebody else for a sec, see if you had something. Brock, you had some?
So that 60-40 that you mentioned, I noticed that the canning is relatively new. What drove you to the decision to like internally can instead of sourcing that elsewhere? Was that the 60-40 that you're talking about?
Well, so our canning line, so that was the last time that we went through the funding process. So we'd started out canning on a small scale through our tap room, individually canning 16-ounce cans. And we were going through we were seeing such a high demand in the tap room to where our tap room staff was making cans up on a daily basis and we were selling them. It was we're like, well, we started getting phone calls from the happy areas, liquor stores, all these places like, hey, we've seen cans people are drinking cans, can we get these cans? We're like, there's no way that we could do it on the scale that we had, so unfortunately there's no mobile canning option around, so that's a lot of breweries start up that way. They outsource canning to a company that either comes here and cans it for you and then they take the canning line away. The fees for that just outweigh a loan payment to have your can. And what some other breweries do is they outsource the actual product to another company to brew it, to can it, and then you have your product back. I don't want to go that route because it's not have products at all. So we decided to go with this, and it's paid off from our projections of what we thought we were going to do per month cans. It's exceeded it. So hopefully that number continues to rise, especially with the fact of our taproom sales. I mean, we saw a high increase when we first opened. It kind of dove down. It's kind of finding this route right now. So we've kind of found what our average month is going to be over here. So to compensate, we've transitioned. That's where I say we want to switch to off-sale packaging because our market stretch is going to be way wider than what's in this category. So the amount of markets that we have open for our cans are very small. We're in Grand Forks, we're in Fargo, and Minneapolis. And those are large markets. So if you have to explore even the western part of Minnesota or further into Minnesota. Yeah.
Other questions, folks? Warren, you got one?
Yeah, I got a question. So like what challenges you had like in terms of business like what's your highest month and how you improve that
I think it depends, especially here in Grand Forks, it depends on the year or like the season. So we found that our biggest months are kind of this September, October, November, December. Those kind of have always been higher. When students come back, when people are in kind of the festive mood, you know, there's a lot of big holidays that come around, right? So we've got, you know, Thanksgiving, we've got Halloween. A lot of people like to come in dressed up, just go to the bars, and then we see a significant drop in January because I feel like a lot of people spend a lot of money in December, and then they all of a sudden January comes and their wallets get really tight.
New resolution,
Yeah, they cut out beer, they cut out pizza or something, and then it kind of slowly just starts to rise again once, especially in this market. Like I said, we have snow, right? So nobody really wants to get out and be active when it's a blizzard or negative 50, wind chill, you know. So January, February are slowest months always. I mean, we're only 2 years in, so that could change.
Which year did you open?
2017, October. So we're coming up on 2 years. So we'll be able to start gathering data. I mean, that's what I'm excited for, is seeing the reports, seeing what we did last October. I mean, we can finally see, like, all right, where are we at? What do we need to focus on? You know, where are our sales at? Off sales, cans doing better? Which beer did we sell most of?
Were you last year having fans outside the door and doing chats?
We just had cans in here, so yeah. Even the summers, you'd think they'd be super busy, but people are, you know, buying off sale to go to the lake or go to people's houses. It's a weird market that we have here. I feel like you have 4 months to really hit it home, and that's where we're going to try to hit it hard this year with college target market.
Have you ever think about having your fans in like big hotels, like Walmart, Target?
That would be, in this market, they don't, well, I suppose some of them have liquor or beer. They're getting it nationwide or something.
Or like Sam's Club, yeah.
Sam's Club, yeah, that'd be too big for us. It'd be awesome, but I think the price we'd have to sell it at to get it to that point wouldn't make sense.
But you didn't talk about food.
Yeah,
So is food a profit center, or is it just
it's more of a, yeah. So we necessarily break even on food, you know, with labor and food costs. I think it's necessary, especially in this environment that we're trying to evolve. I mean, we originally, when I wanted to start Half Brothers, we weren't going to have food because I didn't want to deal with the kitchen, I didn't want to deal with the restaurant. But when we found this building and we found out what this building was, Dakota Harvest Bakers, they had all this kitchen equipment in here. It was a turning point at that point. Like, well, what if we did that? And I think it's helped our business quite a bit because instead of people coming in here and just drinking, they have something to eat. And that's what we want to make sure that that's part of.
I should make trips.
Yeah, you should come in here and do it. You see it set up across the street all the time.
Yeah, I started the weekend there.
Yeah.
Have you found like any triggers or anything like on social media that boost sales, like as for like offering specials or like new brews? Like, have you found out which one brings in more types
Has
of...
anyone ever looked at our Facebook or followed us?
I've seen it, yeah.
I think our most popular things that we post is our ridiculous videos that we do.
Yeah.
That really resonates with people, and the new beers. So
Yeah.
we usually tie it.
To the
don't like
new
to
beer.
use the word stupid video, but that's it's just like it's really funny stuff nonchalant that we try to tie with the beer release to get that off the wall sense. It's not just hey, here's a watermelon goza for sale. It's we come up with something ridiculous and try to be funny with it because I think that's what's resonating with the people on the social medias these days. Not so much deals.
Yeah.
We don't do a happy hour. We don't do anything like that. I try to put in my own personal experience. When I go to a new city or a new place, I'm not scrolling the list looking for the best happy hour. I just find either the nearest pub or the nearest brewery that I want to go see because of the beer or the food or something. So if I walk in and it's happy hour, that's kind of a bummer for the shop owner because I was going to pay full price anyways. So that's our mentality on specials. Although we do run a slice and pint special every lunch hour.
Gentlemen, we've got time for, folks, we have time for one last question. So, to you, sir.
Okay, I have a question. So, what's your most common, so I'm guessing you guys use a variety of social media platforms?
Yep.
So which one is the one that gives you the best return or you like to use the best? And what's the most common audience that you see interacting with that?
Facebook. Although I'm not, people keep talking about Snapchat, TikTok, I don't know what that stuff is. But fortunately, we have a group coming in that's going to take over our social media for 6 weeks for class. So we usually see all sorts of engagement on that, whether it's commenting, tagging people, which that's what you want. You want that tag of someone else, so that way it hits their social media. Social media just, we're pretty much shooting from the hip on that. I have no formal training in what social media is, how to approach it. We just do it. Fortunately enough, I think we've been doing pretty well at it. But it's kind of riding a fine line if you're posting too much or not enough. I don't know if anyone can really tell you what to do. There's classes out there. Sandy, look, teach you that. So maybe she has some inside information.
Well,
Hopefully we're
I'll
gonna
ask
need
her.
it. We'll see. Yeah.
Yeah, she's the one who's taking it over. So
Yeah.
we're-
For classes, so.
Well, Chad, I want to thank you very much for having us out tonight. I know we've all been admiring and sampling the product, so thank you very much. Greatly appreciated. Just so you know, our next speaker is October 24th. It's going to be Tom Kenville, and he's going to be talking about his company, Eyesight, and we're going to do that one on campus. So you can come out to that. But again, if you're interested in taking more part in our Startup Grind chapter, let us know. So next time we can build on what we did tonight. So Chad, again, thanks a lot.
Thank you.
It was a great time.
Thanks, bud.
Yeah.
Thank you.